Hey everybody, it's Felisa. So today's story I was going to include in my Murder Mystery and Mayhem series that's going to be running next week. And I've wanted to do this story for a while and just haven't felt like it was right, and I didn't feel good about it, so I never uploaded it. I want to do it now, but I'm going to separate it, and so you'll probably see this on the Sunday before. And the reason for that is, a couple of things. Number one, I still have hope that this case can be resolved. And two, I have local investment in it. No, I'm not related to any of the people that I'm going to be discussing today, but because it happened locally to my area, I remember when it happened. I remember following this story. I remember being very much affected as a mother. And very concerned about what happened to this little boy. So I would love to be able to see this case be, I don't know, be closed in an effective way. The story is on Dwan Sims, and he was 4 in 1994 when he went missing. The story is that he and his mother, Dwana, had gone to one of our local malls December the 11th. So I'm assuming this was like Christmas shopping. It would have been right before Christmas. Everything would have been adorned with Christmas everything. And so his mother, Dewana, said that she and Dewan had gone to Wonderland Mall. This was in Livonia, Michigan. Now, Livonia is a suburb of Detroit, probably about 25 minutes, 30 maybe, by freeway, depending on where you start in the city. It was not the most racially sensitive nor racially progressive area at the time. I'm sorry, it is what it is. And that's one of the reasons why I feel as though this case wasn't necessarily given the priority that it probably should have been by the local police. Eventually, it did catch on, and I think that the people that were working the case probably did everything that they could given the resources that they had at the time. Anyway, the story goes that Dewana showed up at the mall on December the 11th, had gone in through a Target and probably made her way into the mall. Now, she said that she was walking along the corridor of Target and Dewan just disappeared. I still can't wrap my head around that. Like, I try and visualize that a lot. What does that even mean? I'm trying to think, was the mall crowded? Did Dewan somehow get separated from her? And when she turned around, she wasn't able to find him. Did she turn her back in some kind of way and maybe he wandered off, and when she went to look for him, he wasn't there? I also thought about the Adam Walsh case where Adam and his mother Reve had gone into a store, I think a Sears, and Adam saw toys at the toy department and wanted to stay and look at the toys, and his mother gave him permission to do that and told him to stay put until she got back, and she went to go do what she needed to do, and when she came back, Adam was gone, and the rest is history. I wondered if it was a case of that. Maybe Dewan saw toys and, wanted to stay and play. And, 1994 was still an innocent enough time where perhaps a parent would indulge and allow them to do that. But that was never mentioned, and that's just me speculating. Anyway, so somehow Dewan got separated from his mother in this mall. Now, Dewana said that she got to the mall at about 2:30. The police were called. They did launch an investigation. And it turned up nothing. They pulled the surveillance cameras and they were able to identify Dewana on the tapes, but Dewan was nowhere to be found. Furthermore, there was a time discrepancy. So Dewana said that she got to the mall about 2:30, and on the tape she didn't show up until 3:30. And the witnesses that they were able to interview said that they remembered seeing her, but that there was no child, that she was there by herself. So that was definitely a glaring, kind of discrepancy. They did bring her in for questioning. She did take 2 polygraph tests, as I am able to see research, and she failed them both. Now, I will interject here that for purposes of court and evidence and things like that, polygraph tests are generally inadmissible, and there are a variety of reasons why someone would fail them and still be telling the truth, and there are a variety of reasons why they would pass them and not be telling the truth. So they're not exact science. They're just not. Why people still take them, I have no idea. But they're not exact science, and I don't know that the police do anything with them. But it was revealed to the press that she failed them both. But she stuck by her story, and without any other evidence, the police didn't have anything to go on, and there were no leads that turned up. There were a couple of like tips that came out in the years after. One was a tip to search Hines Park, which was in Dearborn Heights, I believe. And Dearborn Heights is to the west of Detroit. Um, so they got this tip to search Hines Park. They did an excavation. They were able to find a bag that contained bones, but when they performed the DNA test on the remains, it turned out not to be Dwan. Then a few years after that, I want to say like 2003, there was a tip of a unidentified child remains in DeKalb County, Georgia. And they did a DNA test on those remains, and it was not Dwan. And those remains were found like in 1999, so they had been sitting probably in the coroner's office for all that time. But that proved to be not Dwan. There was a gentleman that came forward last year, which was 2019, to say that he thought that he was the missing child. The police did interview him. They took a DNA test. And in the meanwhile, while they were waiting for the results to come back, Dawana said that she would talk to him. And then later on, it was revealed that she did talk to him, and she asked him questions that she felt that only Dawana would know. And he was not able to answer those. And I think that she asked him like his birthday and about a birthmark that he had. And I honestly, like, I was just thinking, I'm not saying that she shouldn't have asked those questions, but, if he's been gone this long, he was 4 when he disappeared, and if he is still living, he would have been raised to not know his identity. And I'm sure that whoever took him wouldn't have any idea what his birthday was and just gave him a completely new birth date. And so that would be the one that he would be referencing. And then as far as birthmarks are concerned, all my children had the same birthmark, dead center between their shoulder blades when they were born, and they disappeared when they got older. They don't still have them, at least not that I'm aware of, but I don't look. So there's that. I just feel as though there's something that's missing in this story, and it always has been. Unfortunately, Wonderland is no longer there as a structure. They tore it down years ago, and then they've rebuilt like a Walmart and a Target on that land, and there's some places to eat, but it's all like open air. It's not connected. So any material clues or evidence that would have been in that mall, if in fact Dwan was there, has long been destroyed. So hopefully the police were able to get whatever they could, if there was something to get, while they were doing the initial investigation, because there's nothing to go back and gather now. And then after 20 some odd years, I doubt that anything would still be there in the first place. It left a lot of us in the local area just baffled, just absolutely baffled of what could have happened to this baby, and how he could seemingly just disappear in a crowded mall and nobody see anything, and have nothing be spoken or heard of him in the years following. I will say that there was quite a lot of opinions that were shared about his mother. Now, what I remember is she was young when this happened. I think she was like 24 or 25. And at first, she was doing like press conferences and coming out and having conversations with the press, and the press would show up at her house. I just remember her coming out and, talking about Dwan and things like that. But she was so vilified as far as comments were concerned, because she didn't appear to be affected enough for society. Like, she didn't seem terribly emotional that I remember, and she was always her hair was always done, her hair was always done, and she always looked well and put together. I always found that those comments were just nonsensical, because why does she have to look disheveled and like she hasn't slept or eaten in days in order to convey grief and sadness to the public? Like, that just never made any sense to me. I get why people say that, but it just never made sense to me. And so I never put stock in that, but I am mentioning it because, like I said, it was part of local conversation, and I think that it really turned the tide as far as support and just the community rallying around her and looking for her son. So I think that people regarded her with suspicion and just general distrust from the moment that she said that the wine was missing, and perhaps that was not a good thing because nobody really supported her and was interested in hearing what she had to say. Eventually she stopped talking to the press altogether, and she, as far as I know, did get married, and she left the state. But she, according to her mother, Dwan's grandmother, was greatly affected emotionally by Dwan's disappearance, as I'm sure that she was, and never really recovered from it. To this day, I don't think that she still speaks to the public, but I've heard that she, of course, still looks for Dwan, and she hopes that at some point she will be able to have closure. I'm going to post a picture of Dwan at the end of this vlog. He was an absolutely beautiful child with the most heartwarming and captivating smile that I've ever seen on a little child. And I think that that's one of the reasons why the story is so heartbreaking. Not that any other child that goes missing is not heartbreaking, but his smile was just a smile that was so radiant, and it was a picture that continuously played on the nightly news, at the 12 o'clock news, in the morning news. Where is Dwan? And those of us who are local to the area were just perplexed as far as his ability seemingly to just vanish into thin air. At any rate, I'm Felisa. Thank you for taking the time to watch this vlog. And if you have any information about the disappearance or the whereabouts of Dwan Sims, please contact the Detroit Police Department. Thank y'all. Have a good day. Bye.